Hello and welcome to my recap of episode 4 of the Ultimatum Queer Love. If you haven't watched my other recaps of episodes 1 through 3, go catch up on them now and come on back. And let's go. The episode opens with Ray and Vanessa at the tattoo parlor getting Vanessa's nipples pierced, both of them, and it looks painful and I don't want it. And I shall skip that. Yoli and Xander are still vibing and really getting along well. Ozzy and Mildred are doing well. Mildred says she feels like she has a weight lifted ever since she and Tiff kind of ended it. There's also a dog! Bonus dog! Lexi and Mal are again doing very well. Mal had a timeline, but she says that Lexi completely destroyed her timeline, and Mal is like so sure about being in a relationship with Lexi. So they're doing very, very well. Tiff and Sam. So time has passed and the dog situation apparently got worse. Tiff has been sleeping on the couch with the dog because Sam didn't really want to sleep in the bed with the dog. And Tiff said that she's making all the concessions and Sam isn't. Sam says like the dog is more important than any relationship for Tiff, and that's pretty much true. And Tiff wants Sam to give a shit about her dog, and it's like, I love animals, so I would probably care about it, but if it's not mine and you just kind of met this person, it's like let's wait until we get a little bit further along in this relationship to actually make this be a deal breaker. I don't know, that's a tough one because I love my animals. I wouldn't be able to kick them out. But basically it turns into a huge argument and it just does not end well. Now we're at week 2 of the trial marriages. We're going to end Sam and Tiff's storyline for this episode with them at dinner, and they're kind of hashing out the fight that they had the other day about the dog situation, and they were both happy that they were able to communicate their feelings toward the situation, and it looked like they were able to move forward in a more peaceful manner. Yoli and Xander are having such a good time. They're talking about like, oh, can they add another week to our trial marriage? And then Yoli brings up sex and says that she wants to because that's part of the experience, that's part of marriage. And what if they get along really well, but the bedroom sucks? So she said, hey, by the way, I'm into it if you are. And then Xander falls over on the couch and is like, oh, I fell over. Why don't you give me a hug? And then Yoli's like, oh, is this you initiating? And Xander's like, mm-hmm. And so Yoli gets on top, gives her a hug, and they smoochy smooch. It's the first one of the trial marriages, and I couldn't be happier at the couple. After some time, we then see Yoli and Xander in their kitchen. So some time has passed, and they're just making out in the kitchen, like all over. And then they go to bed, and they get some. And the next morning, Yoli's like, I'm ready for round 2. So all things are going well with them. Mildred and Ozzy are meeting Ozzy's friend Mo. And Mo apparently is very important in Ozzy's life, and so it's important to have her perspective on this new relationship. It's all very confusing, but it goes kind of south when Ozzy is saying that she has a block about marriage, and then Mildred's like, yeah, but you said you were open and ready for marriage, so like, what's up? This is very confusing. Why now? Why me? What changed? And it was all a little awkward and weird, and Mo's just kind of like sitting there like judging the out of them. So it was kind of weird. The next time we see Ozzy and Mildred, they're waking up, and Mildred wakes up super early and just immediately starts cleaning. Then Ozzy gets up and is like, oh wow, you got up early and cleaned. I appreciate it, thanks. And then Mildred is mad that Ozzy's not putting in more effort because Ozzy's going out to eat all the time with her friends instead of eating at the house. And so that leaves Mildred at the house alone to deal with all the food and all the cleaning and all that stuff. Uh-oh. As they're getting ready for the next group night out, Ozzy and Mildred are talking about using the bathroom. Mildred's using it for her makeup, and Ozzy's gonna need to use it to change or use the restroom or whatever. And they're just talking and being very passive aggressive about, oh, I'm glad we're communicating now. I wish we could have communicated before. And it gets very passive aggressive Ozzy accuses Mildred of just saying bad things about her on the camera to make Ozzy look worse. And Mildred's like, oh, okay, well, what did I say? And Ozzy's like, I don't want to have this conversation now. And it's like, oh, no, you have to have this conversation now. You can't bring it up and then not have the conversation. And Ozzy's like, I don't like confrontation, and I really don't want to deal with this right now because we're on our way out to a group party. Awkward and just awful. This pairing went south very, very fast. Very, very fast. Now we're with Vanessa and Ray before the group party. They're at a beach picnic and they're really hitting it off. And Vanessa is coaxing Ray out of her shell and actually gets Ray into the water, and they're playing around in the water and it's all fun. Vanessa says she's worried about settling down with somebody because she thinks that that's like giving up and that she'd be missing out on somebody else just around the corner. The grass is always greener, I guess, for her. And Ray wants to trust herself and not listen to anybody else. That night, Ray and Vanessa hook up a little bit. Vanessa gets a little, or takes care of Ray, I guess. Then the next morning, Ray feels really bad about it and tells her ex, Lexi, what happened. Lexi's with Mal currently, by the way. Then she tells Vanessa that she told Lexi about what happened and that everybody knows everything. And Vanessa just kind of laughs it off. I don't know, it was weird. And then she said, oh, we should just have a threesome and get this over with. It just seemed very disrespectful to everything that Ray was concerned about. The cracks are beginning to show. Lexi and Mal are doing really well together. Mal's supportive and respectful of Lexi. Once Lexi finds out about what happened with Ray and Vanessa, Mal is there to support her as she cries, and it's just, it really sucks. It's the group night out, and we have two separate groups of people conversing and chatting. So I'm just going to start with one group and then do the other group. The episode intercuts, but that's too much back and forth for me. So I'm not going to do it that way. I'll do what I want. We shall start with a group that has Mal, Xander, Sam, Mildred, and Ray in it. It's a bingo! And Mildred's just asking questions of the group like, oh, what's the weirdest thing your trial marriage has done? And Ray says that Vanessa dumped ramen noodles down the bathroom sink. Xander talks about Yoli's dog, but like nothing really specific about it. Sam says that she and Tiff are doing way better after the fight with communication, and so they're doing really well now. So that was a thing that they had to get over. Mildred then asks like if anybody's hooked up with each other, which is a loaded question because we have Xander there who is hooked up with Yoli, but she's sitting right next to Mal, Yoli's ex. And then we also have Ray, who hooked up with Vanessa, but feels like crap about it. But Mal knows that they hooked up because Mal is in a trial marriage with Lexi, who Ray told. So Ray pulls Mal to get a drink at the bar before anybody can answer this question. And Ray just feels like crap about it and apologizes to Mal for getting in the middle of everything and her situation with Lexi. And Ray just feels like crap. And Mal's just like, hey, it's cool. You just need to figure shit out and forgive yourself. I really like Mal. Mal's got a good head. They go back to the bar and Mildred and Xander are talking about Vanessa. And Mildred is trying to stick up for Xander and saying, why are you even like with Vanessa? Because she was mouthing fuck off and fuck you to Xander as she's trying to talk at the dinner. So Vanessa's just very rude to Xander. Xander's a very kind and loving person, and so Mildred's just questioning why is Vanessa even here? What are her motives? Xander's just like, hey, I don't want to talk about Vanessa. I'm trying to have a good time. We're at a party. Like, I don't want to be stuck talking about my ex all evening. And Mildred kind of wouldn't let it go. She wouldn't let it go. And she said this involves all of us, and by not talking about her, you're sticking up for her, defending her actions. And it's like, not necessarily. They're two separate people. Now's not the time for this. Just enjoy your night. And also, what does it have to do with you? Honestly, Vanessa has nothing to do with Mildred, nor does Xander. It shouldn't matter to her. Xander ends up getting very upset about the whole situation and walking away from the group. And that is the end of that group for this episode. So it ends on a sour note. Now we're going to move on to the other group. This group has Tiff, Ozzy, Lexi, Yoli, and Vanessa. Lexi and Vanessa? Ugh, that's gonna go well. Tiff says she has to dig deeper in order to be open to love. Lexi says she convinced Mal of marriage, which is a little awkward and shocking to Yoli, who is the one who gave Mal the ultimatum. Vanessa brings up her nipple piercings, and Everybody at the table gives her a side eye and is like, ew. I mean, I don't think it's gross, but I would never do it. Ugh, too sensitive. Yoli says her relationship with Xander is just effortless and they're doing well together. Yoli says that Xander brings so much to everybody else's life and enhances their lives. And Yoli asks Vanessa what Vanessa brings to Xander's life. Called out. And Vanessa ends with, I don't know. I don't know, Yoli. I don't know. Vanessa then says that she's excited to explore things with Ray and to take things slow with her. And that's what sets Lexi off, because Lexi knows that they're not taking it slow, that Vanessa actually got some digits up in Ray. Ozzy tries to calm everybody down, and that doesn't go over well. Everybody just, nah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Lexi isn't necessarily mad about the fooling around part. She's mad about the Vanessa part, because she really has it out for Vanessa, because she thinks Vanessa's fake, doesn't like why she's here. Lexi pointedly asks Vanessa if Vanessa is romantically, physically, or emotionally attracted to Ray. Flat out. Vanessa says no. No. Everyone at that table heard it, especially Yoli. Noted. Vanessa says no, that they are just friend vibes and just friends. And Lexi sets off even more, because why is Vanessa fooling around with Ray when she has no romantic or emotional investment in her whatsoever? In between the good points and the actual logical points of these arguments, it gets very graphic, and they're just talking about penetrating and how you accidentally get up in there, and it is just, it's very graphic, but also very funny. Meanwhile, Ozzy is just sitting there with her head in her hands, just going, I want to die. I want to die. And that is where we end episode 4. And that is also where we end this week's batch of episodes 1 through 4. So if you haven't already, watch my recaps of episodes 1 through 3 and be ready for episode 5 on Netflix next Wednesday. So what are you thinking so far? Do you think anybody's gonna last in the original relationships or in the trial relationships? Like, I'm really rooting for Xander and Yoli, and I'm really rooting for Lexi and Mal. Mildred and Ozzy imploded. Sam and Tiff, the dog situation got out of hand, and I don't see that being romantic at all. And then Vanessa and Ray, Vanessa just flat out said, no, I'm not into Ray that way, so that's gonna implode. The drama is just getting started. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on next week's recaps of episodes 5 through 8, I believe. Come back next week and check them out. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.